We do this at a time when the global economy continues to navigate uncertainty arising from the geopolitical tensions, the changing trade patterns, the inflationary pressures, and the intensified competition for investment. Across the world, governments are confronted with challenges of stimulating growth, creating jobs, and building resilient economies capable of adapting to rapidly changing global conditions. Honorable Speaker, despite all these challenges, our province remains richly endowed with opportunities. This province possesses abundant mineral wealth, fertile agricultural land, world-class tourism assets, a growing biodiversity economy, and a strategic location linking South Africa to the broader SADC region. Musa Khotla, the Provincial Growth and Development Strategy remains an important compass for our development agenda. It identifies strategic sectors that will drive growth and transformation, including the mining and mineral beneficiation, agriculture and agro-processing, manufacturing, tourism and biodiversity economy, logistics, renewable energy, digital information, innovation, and infrastructure development. Honorable Speaker, the challenge before us is not whether opportunities exist. The challenge is whether we can unlock them at the scale and pace required to transform the lives of our people. The Northwest Province therefore stands at an important juncture of not just being a mining province, but rather a beneficiation province, not just being an agricultural province, but to become an agro-processing province, not just to become a tourism province, but to become a tourism investment province, not just to become a transit province, but a logistic and trade province. We are a conservation province, Speaker, and we must as well become a biodiversity economy province. Honorable Speaker, having outlined all the challenges and opportunities before us, South Africa and this province is not immune to such pressures. I will now table the allocation of the Department of Economic Development, Environment, Conservation and Tourism for the 26-27 financial year. The department is allocated a budget of 1,056 million allocated per programs, and this budget is designed to unlock investment, to create jobs, to strengthen governance, and to expand opportunities for the people of this province. But at the center of this budget is a message of hope and determination. As per the program, R25,002,000. The second program at Integrated Economic Development Services stands at R67,698,000. Trade and Sector Development Program 3 stands at R94,892,000. Program 4 Business Regulation and Governance stands at R140,639,000. The Economic Planning Program stands at R17,031,000. The Environmental Services, which takes almost 41% of this budget, Speaker, stands at R440,466,000. The Tourism, which is the last program, stands at R70,335,000, which sums to R1,060,003,000. Honorable Speaker, it's important to indicate that before getting to this budget vote, I had to sit with the Premier, and we are agreeing that we must be able to tell our people the truth and to be transparent enough for them to be hopeful in this government. I will start with the SO reform, the financial sustainability and governance renewal. Honorable Speaker, as we table this budget, it is important that we reflect honestly on the conditions of our state-owned entities. not only where they are today, but where they come from and the difficult journey that lies ahead. When the 7th administration assumed responsibility, several of our entities were facing deep-rooted governance, financial and operational challenges that had accumulated over more than a decade. Some of these challenges date back 10 to 15 years and continue to manifest themselves in audit findings, material irregularities, litigations, debt obligations, aging infrastructure, unfunded mandates, and institutional instability. The reality is that many of these entities had become trapped in a cycle where resources intended for development were increasingly diverted towards debt servicing, legal disputes, compensation obligations, and the maintenance of the deteriorating assets. Honorable Speaker, one of the most significant governance challenges we inherited was the prolonged absence of substantive board in these entities. Without stable governance structures, accountability weakened, the strategic direction became uncertain, and critical decisions were then delayed. Today, we are pleased to report that substantive boards have been appointed across our entities. These boards are now providing governance, oversight, accountability, and strategic leadership required to drive institutional recovery along the long-term sustainability. This includes not only 3 boards, but including the Liquor Board, the Consumer Courts, as well as other related boards that speaks to the functionality of this department. I must as well acknowledge the presence of members of the board who are highly professional and are busy in their busy schedule. They were able to leave everything and to be with us today, Speaker. The Northwest Development Corporation remains the most financially distressed within this portfolio. The corporation continues to carry historical municipal debt obligations exceeding 212 million, together with significant contingent liabilities arising from litigation and contractual dispute. This entity's annual compensation budget is almost equivalent and some instances exceed the budget that I'm going to transfer to NWDC out of this budget. Obviously, is going to be consumed into compensation of employees because they are at 104, and we will be left with even a negative to do all the operations of this board. This means that a significant portion of the resources is consumed there, and therefore, it will then have a problem before the corporation can invest in industrialization, investment promotion, infrastructure development, and economic transformation programs. And that is why the Premier has made it very clear that we need to be robust when we deal with, and decisive when we deal with the financial viability of this board. The corporation carries more than 100 unlettable properties that have suffered years of vandalism, illegal occupation, infrastructure decay, and underinvestment. Instead of generating revenue, these assets have become the financial burden, and it continues to weaken the balance sheet of this institution. Similarly, the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board inherited legacy liabilities, the governance weaknesses, the related challenges to measure, and operational inefficiencies that constrains its ability to maximize revenue and unlock economic value of our tourism and conservation assets. Honorable Speaker, the appointment of substantive board was not the only step. We now embarked on a broader program of institutional reform across our entities. This reform includes the implementation of turnaround strategies, the organizational reviews, the service delivery improvement plans, the revenue enhancement program, and the governance strengthening initiatives. We are reviewing all these organizational structures and development to ensure that we respond to the current economic realities and development priorities. We have further engaged Honorable Premier and the Executive Council on the need to undergo a broader review of the mandate and the funding models and the future sustainability of these state-owned entities. This process will assist government in determining whether the current institutional arrangement remain appropriate and whether the mandate require refinement and how best these entities can be positioned to contribute to the provincial growth and development strategy. Honorable Speaker, to address these historical material irregularities identified by the Auditor General, some of which originated many years before this current administration, the systems are being strengthened, consequence management processes are being pursued when necessary, and governance controls are being enhanced to ensure that the weaknesses are not repeated. Honorable Speaker, it is very clear that to the people of the Northwest, our message is simple. Remain hopeful. All is not lost. The challenges here are real, but so too is our determination to confront them. We are rebuilding institutions, we are strengthening governance, and we are restoring accountability by laying foundation for a new era of sustainability and growth. The budget is not just merely a budget for administration. It is a budget for reform. It is a renewal and a future prosperity of our province. Honorable Speaker, let me switch to the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board turnaround strategy. Out of the environmental services budget of the billion that I have put before your house, the budget of 54,651,000. And to date, the Parks Board has inherited about 300 GLR employees, costing the entity 37 million for remuneration of employees which are not budgeted for. One of the most significant achievements has been the implementation of the revised gate tariffs and the introduction of the automated gate management systems across the reserves. The reforms have strengthened the revenue. It has improved visitor management and it has reduced the opportunities for revenue leakages. This is part of what we have committed in our audit action plan with the AG. As a result, the revenue collected through gate entrance fee increased from 14.8 million in 24-25 to 23.6 million in 25-26, representing an increase of 8.8 million, and approximately 85% growth in a single financial year. The revenue generated from concession increased from 56.9 million 24-25 to 75.2 million in 25-26, reflecting an increase of 18.3 million. The combined gate fees concession revenue generated additional amount of 27.1 million. It also worth celebrating is the fact that these reforms, we have successfully increased the salaries of GLR staff as well as the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board staff, together with all the outstanding debts dated back as 2021 to date. This achievement was made possible through improved revenue collection, the stronger financial management, and the enhanced operational efficiency. We will continue to apologize for the inconvenience that we have caused to the families of these GLR employees for all the irregularities that happens that has disorganized their plans in their families. To our game rangers, we continue to, who are the frontline servers of protecting our biodiversity and natural heritage, we acknowledge that we have not done enough to address the living conditions of some of the conservation areas. We sincerely appreciate your dedication, rangers, and the sacrifices under often challenging circumstances. As part of this budget, the MEC has already directed the board to prioritize the assessment and the improvement of ranger accommodation in different reserves and related living conditions. We remain committed in ensuring that those entrusted with protecting our environmental assets must as well be provided with safe, dignified, and suitable working and living conditions. This administration is determined to respond to your concerns with urgency and care. Honorable Speaker, I will switch to the environmental and waste management, still under the same program of environmental services. In the state of the provincial address, Honorable Premier directed the Department of Economic Development, Conservation and Tourism to move with speed in addressing environmental management challenges confronting municipalities, and particularly those related to waste management, environmental compliance, and concerns raised through various oversight reports, including the Human Rights Report. A portion of the 97.915 million remaining within the environmental services after the transfer to the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board will respond directly to this Premier's directive. It is very clear that our assessment indicates that of the 18 municipalities within this province, only 3 are currently compliant with the key requirements relating to integrated waste management plan and waste management bylaws. This situation requires an urgent intervention and Honorable Speaker, the MEC has already agreed with the head of department to redefine and strengthen the responsibilities of specialized environmental officials who will work closely with municipalities across this province to attend to this matter. Part of this budget, Honorable Speaker, will therefore be utilized to support municipalities in the development and the reviewing of the integrated waste management plans, to strengthen waste management bylaws, and to plan compliant landfill facilities and improve waste management system. Honorable Speaker, the department has also launched a program called Matlakalakizak. It's a provincial initiative that aims at changing the way communities view waste and demonstrate that waste is not merely a service delivery challenge, but a significant economic opportunity. At the right time in the next week, we will unpack the waste that we are talking to. That will be the waste that is in the form of dumping sites and the waste that comes from the mining and all those areas that are as a result of the disruption of the environment. The program has already been rolled across the districts of this province. Honorable Speaker, the department continues to invest in both in-school and out-of-school environmental clubs. This budget vote is not only about environmental compliance. It is about building the skills, institutions, and economic opportunities required to sustain circular economy. Through this budget, we will intensify skills development program in waste management, waste handling, waste processing, and recycling. We will then bring interventions aimed at equipping young people, cooperatives, community organizations, and emerging entrepreneurs with practical knowledge and technical skills required to participate meaningfully in the waste economy. This budget will also support the strengthening and revitalization of the government-owned buyback centers and the drop centers as critical components of the recycling value chain. We want communities to become environmentally responsible, and this is how we will build a cleaner, a greener, and economically inclusive Northwest Province. Switching to the biodiversity economy, Speaker, the annual hunting season, which commenced on the 1st of May to the 31st of July, has been extended by the MEC and will be posted in a gazette to end to the 31st of August 2026. And the wildlife quota allocation finalized for 66 tribal authorities to promote sustainable conservation and community-led natural resources will be attended to. I have made it very clear to the head of department, Speaker, that we must continue to respect our traditional leaders and engage when there is a need for us to do amendments on these quotas. The department has also launched a new electronic permit system to process the biodiversity permits. Since the inception, 1,500 hunting permits were issued for dangerous game such as lions, crocodiles, hippo, and rhinoceros hunting. This year's framework that we have signed in the UK are heavily fortified by a landmark memorandum of understanding that we have signed with the SCI, of which it will bring critical financial investment and technical expertise to tribal lands and provincial parks, ensuring that hunting quotas are backed by robust ecological data. Honorable Speaker, one of the most significant interventions undertaken by this administration was the introduction of structured tourism commercialization program, which aimed at unlocking economic value, the provincial tourism and conservation assets. For many years, several tourism facilities and infrastructure assets remain underutilized. I'm happy that the horses are on, especially those that the Mirafia Bona iling more the areas that are either adjacent or are within the protected areas, Khosi Matlapeng, Khosi Maotwe, Khosi Pilani are here. We are having guided by our commitment to building sustainable conservation economy, we have adopted a decisive approach to commercialize by inviting private sector participation in the development and operationalization of the selected tourism assets, being it for the communities or being it for the 14 reserves that we have, whilst ensuring that ownership remains vested in the people of the Northwest Province. And as a result, Speaker, this intervention, we have already received the investment proposals amounting to approximately 2.2 billion. Of this amount, proposals valued approximately 1.8 billion has successfully progressed through investor capacity assessment, affordability evaluation, compliance verification, and due diligence processes, and are now advancing towards implementation. What distinguishes this model from the old model of the green concession, where people have hijacked the land of this province people, is that this model is built around ring-fence special purpose vehicle operating within the build, operate, transfer framework, ensuring that provincial assets remain protected while private sector investment is mobilized to develop and maintain and operate these facilities. For the first time, the communities residing and owning the land around reserves and the protected areas are not merely spectators in the tourism development. They will be recognized as strategic partners and beneficiaries. We will as well mobilize investments to their areas, and the MEC has already engaged with the mining houses that besides just extraction, we need to start to engage on how they got involved in as well starting to develop the land where our people are, because the unemployment that we are talking about in this province come from the landowners whose land is just unused, and it is through this program that the landowners will be positioned to participate directly in the value chain generated from tourism activities of this nature. In the tourism performance 2025-26, Speaker, it is very true that whilst this province is not doing well in terms of creation of jobs, but the rise that we have discovered in the third quarter of the Statistics South Africa on the improvement of the third quarter. The tourism continues to be the major cooperator to the economy of the Northwest, generating an estimated 10.9 billion in tourism revenue, supporting approximately 9.242 jobs and benefiting 344 tourism enterprises across the province. And during the year under review, the province has attracted approximately 462 million international tourists and more than 4.17 million domestic tourists. Domestic tourism has fully recovered and surpassed the pre-pandemic levels, whilst the international tourism continues its gradual recovery. We will be presenting to the Premier our own independent proposal that speaks to stimulation of economy because of our failure to have working airports. And I have already engaged the MEC Morweng on this matter. We have outlined in these pages, Honorable Speaker, how the contribution of the 10.9 billion is structured in terms of different districts. In the interest of time, I will just talk to the provincial consolidation. Coming to the tourism collaboration, Speaker, another area that has historically presented challenges to government is the optimal utilization of our hospitality and training infrastructure, including Mahikeng Hotel and Taung. And to address this challenge, we are in the engagement with the university aimed at strategic collaboration that will reposition these facilities as integrated centers for accredited hospitality and tourism development. Whilst discussions are still finalized, we are encouraged by the progress made thus far and remain confident that this partnership will unlock new opportunities for young people. Honorable Speaker, we acknowledge the delays and the stoppage of Taung Hotel project due to the Auditor General's findings that we had to address and respond to, even the findings dating back as 2014. However, we are marching forward towards the implementation of the project through the new contract that we are on, which are drawing with the IDT. Sun City remains one of the largest tourism destination and employer in our province, and it continues to be a strategic partner in advancing our province and continue to be advancing tourism growth, skills development, and economic inclusion. Through our engagement with Sun City, we are exploring opportunities to establish a structured pipeline through which graduates emerging from the hospitality and tourism training program can access experiential learning, internship, mentorship program. The combined collaboration between Government of the Northwest University and Sun City has the potential to create a seamless pathway from education and training to employment, entrepreneurship, and international opportunities. It is important, Honorable Speaker, to indicate that the recent graduates of Taung and Mahikeng Hotel School, the MEC has already put on the table of engagement through the memorandum of understanding that we have with Sun City to place this graduate to support them in the form of youth development. Promotion of destination in the Northwest. Musa Khotla, an amount of 70 million has been allocated to tourism development and promotion during this 2027 financial year. The department has successfully profiled 562 accommodation establishments. In the document that you are holding, when you open this page, you are going to have a QR code. From here, we are inviting all of you, those who go to all points of this province, the 18 municipalities, you will be having the 566 establishments that we have, their contacts and the number of beds they are occupying. We are doing this in every piece of paper that we produce as a province, including when the Premier or the MEC or any other way of engagement of government, including what the Premier has already launched in the OR Tambo, to market our facilities across the province. This is the department has successfully done that, confirming a tourism accommodation inventory of 6,614 rooms and 12,676 beds, with an annual accommodation capacity exceeding 4.1 million visitors. To improve visitor safety and enhance the visitor experience, the department has deployed 70 tourism monitors, including 45 tourism monitors stationed at Ramatlabama, Kopfontein, and Skilpat Heg border posts. This deployment contributes to improved tourism safety, information safety, and destination management. During our recent engagement with Jose Munsiwa, as I was engaging with the Jose Zaron, the MEC visited Jose Munsiwa to listen to him and to understand his vision. And the MEC noted preparations towards the celebration of the Silver Jubilee of Barolombora City Kingdom, which will take place during the Tourism Month in September 2026. This historic milestone presents a unique opportunity to showcase the rich cultural heritage, the traditions, the history, and indigenous knowledge systems of the Barolo. We did this with Jose Pilane in the previous financial year, where we also had to take a route of understanding the origin of Bakhatla and to start to intensify in our program as government, the understanding of expansion of tourism destination in the spirit of respecting who we are and working with the Kgosi Sarona. The department will collaborate closely with Traditional Council to position the Silver Jubilee of Kgosi Monsiwa celebration as a flagship cultural and heritage tourism event within the province. In addition, the department will work with this Traditional Council and other stakeholders to explore formal recognition and promotion of Barolong cultural landscape and corridor as a destination, as a tourism destination. Through this partnership, we will expand heritage routes, cultural profiling initiatives, tourism month activities, and community-led tourism opportunities that celebrates the rich history, the culture, tradition, and the people of this province. Honorable Speaker, as part of our commitment to working closely with traditional leaders and communities, the department continues to support strategic tourism infrastructure projects that contribute to local economic development and create jobs. One of the projects is the Lihurusi Bird and Trophy Hunting Project of Kosilenju in Moshana. The project created 40 work opportunities for local, and we are currently awaiting finalization with the National Department of Tourism before operations can commence. We come to the MSME development. Honorable Speaker, we have reflected on our history and the way that we have traveled. Upon us starting this administration, we found deadlock sitting with the different institutions, your PSC as well as a public protector. We have paid out everything. We have bought equipments that were blocked from 2020-22 and other administrations. We have made it to our people. Musa Khotla, for the 2027 financial year, an amount of 67 million has been allocated for this program. Through the MEC's business colloquium and sectoral engagement program that we conducted early this year, where the president was also present, the department engaged more than 1,170 stakeholders. These engagements included the SAWIC and its affiliates, the NAFCOC and its affiliates, the Hartfall and its affiliates, Ngaka Mudiri Molema Women in Business and its affiliates, the youth formations, the faith-based organizations, and the organized business structures. The outcomes of this engagement now guide our priorities and investment decisions. For everything that we will do will be directed by the Provincial Growth and Development Strategy, and the close to 200 SMEs benefited from the support across the 18 municipalities. And the department facilitated B2B engagements, 166 enterprises trained. A portion of the allocation will support commodity-based opportunities. The department will work with the University Innovation Hub through the Young African Entrepreneur Institute to identify and support, is an era, is not 36. We will be supporting young entrepreneurs from municipalities across the province. This program will provide incubation, mentorship, machinery and equipment support, business development services, and market readiness interventions. The department will also support the municipalities that are listed here are those that we have already signed memorandum of understanding, and they have presented to the MEC the needs that are in the IDP of their municipalities. One of the groundbreaking news that we collaborate with the Department of Small Business Minister is the 9.8 million that we will be directing to Moretele local municipality. This is a model of starting to equip our people so that they will be able to compete with those that are not eligible to trading in this country. This initiative, the department will be supporting the established shop Wayabatu, which will be a wholesaler and an anchor retail enterprise, where 25 of the 25 was around Moretele. Businesses across the area will be given the business inbox as they have already been trained, identified, and the two departments will actualize this to start to model the township and village economy. We'll be having the Majaka Tata Development Program partnering with the municipality of Matlosana and the mining houses around Matlosana, where we will be bringing startup.
MEC, as you are left with only 5 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, the department has already established a working relationship with Sibanye and will also engage the faith-based organizations, including the Church of Christ Assembly in Lidach and the St. John's Apostolic Mission in Moses Kotane. We'll be reaching out to support these informal traders around these churches and community enterprise operating around their activities. We'll also be having through NWDC bakeries around Mahikeng, Ratlo, Mamusa, and Naledi. Honorable Speaker, the business regulation governance is allocated 83 million. At the center of this is our commitment in creating business environment. It must be clear that the liquor industry has currently more than 700 licenses, and of the 7,000 licenses, they have created 21,000 employment opportunities. On the gambling sector, we are hosting 253 active gambling operators. Of this operation, 2.38 billion goes into the revenue, of which 164.5 million goes into the provincial fiscus. 1,641 jobs are created. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, allow me to express my sincere appreciation to this August House, the portfolio chairperson, Khosi, Honorable Mpokuno. Thank you for your firm oversight and your principled leadership. The African National Congress, my home, led by Comrade Nonoma Loy. Thank you, Chairman, for always honkaga. Thank you, Honorable Premier Mokhosi Realeboga, for always being so consistent. Your honesty and commitment to develop our province continue to inspire us. Allow me also, Holeboga AG, the head of department, and your management team, and the CEOs and the boards. We must also thank Bishop Duncan Shoke, my bishop of the Diocese of Kimberley. Thank you for your special prayers as a leader of this congregation. Let me also thank my siblings, my husband, Papa, thank you for your patience, encouragement, and unwavering support. To my children, thank you for your understanding, your love and sacrifice, and as I serve the people of this province. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC. I realize we have a lot to say to our communities, but I believe that the guests have got the budget speech. They'll be able to go through it, but also your media people will ensure that the community knows what you have been doing. Thank you once more. I will now call the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Ntate Kuno. You have your 7 minutes.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, Dr. Desmond Mohono, the Deputy Speaker, the Honourable Premier, Lazarus Mokhosi, members of the Executive Council, Makhosi Aruna Atlukegang, members of the Legislature, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to start off on this note by appreciating the budget speech of MEC. Right at the onset, the MEC did the correct thing by contextualizing where we are in presenting this budget speech. She correctly acknowledged the very difficult socio-economic environment that we face in the country and in the province, of economic stagnation, of very low growth, and difficulties in terms of unemployment. That context is important in understanding the role of the department. The role of the department is in entities as being at the citadel of economic revival of the Northwest Province. Honorable Speaker, the annual performance plan 2026-27 of the Department of Economic Development, Environment, Conservation and Tourism and all its entities was formally referred by the Speaker, Honorable Desmond Mahoney, to the Portfolio Committee for consideration and processing. The committee had a meeting with the department and the entities on the 9th of June 2026, and the purpose of this meeting was to have a final dip considering the annual performance plan of the department and its entities. And I must say this, Honorable Speaker, perhaps in addressing the MEC on that meeting. That meeting was robust, and I think it's important for the MEC and the entities to understand that where we are not happy as a portfolio committee, those meetings will be robust. Where we are not convinced that you are not doing enough to address certain issues, we will be robust. And to be fair, where we believe you are doing well, we will acknowledge those things. But it's important that we don't take those engagements as being negative. It is because we are really concerned about the economic environment in the province. Now, I want to come to the deliberations of the committee in respect of the APP of the department and the various entities. Just at a high level, a number of issues that I want to highlight. First thing is to appreciate, Honorable MEC, that we've been hammering on this point that we've got to have substantive boards in these entities. And we're quite happy that in comparison to the last financial year, you have in fact appointed substantive boards in these entities. So it is a very, very important achievement. The next stage that we want to focus on is not whether you have appointed these boards, it's the impact they will have in dealing with these challenges of economic rejuvenation of the province. So we appreciate that you have the necessary agreements with them as a parent, but a lot more of it deals with the actual performance of these entities. We also appreciate that when you came in, the department was in shambles, and there are in fact signs of recovery in the department itself. We are concerned, MEC, about the issue of SMME development. And we have decried this thing that we put in our APPs, the number of SMMEs supported, and we're not too much concerned about the impact of the intervention. So we no longer want to see these projects where we talk about SMME support, and we don't see that translating to actual growth, actual jobs being created, and a development of these SMMEs. That's why we have been quite critical of this point, and we have been vocal about perhaps looking at a different model of incubation hubs in every district, which can look after these SMMEs, which are so critical in job creation and economic growth in the province. We are concerned, MEC, about the Taung Hotel School, and I'm happy that in your speech you alluded to this fact, that this is a critical project that has to be completed to promote economic growth, particularly tourism in the region of RSM. When we move to Gambling Board, we must accept, all members, that Gambling Board is doing well. It's doing well. We believe that it will do even better now that they have a board. But we believe that there are targets in terms of illegal gambling. Those targets are grossly underwhelming in appreciating the true extent of illegal gambling. We have made the point consistently that as you set your targets, they must be linked to the actual problem of illegal gambling, not just targets of 200 inspections, when we know that the actual outlets where you have illegal gambling, though they are much more than that figure of 200. But we are happy with Gambling Board and we think that it can do even better. When we come to Northwest Development Corporation, let's start with Honorable Premier with one thing.
As you wrap up, Chair,
The province has been promised an SCZ for a long time, Honorable Premier. And we are urging you to ensure that finally we get to see this SCZ in Bojanala, which will promote investment. Parks and Tourism Board, there are signs of recovery there. There's no challenges of payment of salaries, but we want you to be a lot more decisive in implementing your turnaround plan and dealing with issues of review of concession agreements. So, as I retreat, we have presented recommendations there in the report table. The recommendations, I don't have enough time to go through all of these recommendations, but we are presenting these recommendations for adoption and by the House. In terms of the budget, we are moving firmly as a portfolio committee that the House must accept this report, must support this budget of just over R1 billion. And we are not saying there are no problems. There are problems in all of these entities, but we cannot take an irresponsible step of not approving a budget. Because if you are not approving a budget, you are basically saying the employees in those entities and departments must not be paid. And that will be quite an irresponsible thing. And we hope that members of the opposition, as you come and address us, your tone will be different from yesterday. Because all that we had yesterday was rejection, 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 which will not help the people of the Northwest at all. Thank you very much.
thank you, Chairperson. I will now call Honorable Babuile. Honorable Babile, you have 10 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Leadership Collective of the EFF, Dikgosi tsa rona di etelletswe pele ke Kgosi Maotwe, members of the executive, members of the House, and members of the community. Dumelang. Honorable Speaker, as we are talking currently, the Progressive MEC of Finance in Gauteng is currently presenting his budget vote and would advise that for a budget to be approved, you must go and learn one or two things from him so that we're able to adopt your budget. Honorable Speaker, I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters to participate in this budget vote. We do so from a standpoint of the poor, the unemployed.
Honorable Babuile, you know, I'm worried that you are even drowned by your own party. So, honorable members, I'm pleading, Honorable Nathan, I'm pleading with all of you, don't drown a speaker. Honorable Matuani, don't drown a speaker, please. Continue, Honorable Babuile.
Among the MEC of Public Community Safety, informal traders, small farmers, young graduates who cannot find work, and the rural communities who continue to live next to the wealth of this province while remaining excluded from its benefits. Honorable Speaker, when one reads this APP politically and honestly, one finds a recurring problem. The department continues to ask for a bigger budget and bigger confidence from this House, while the lived reality of our people remains one of the economic stagnation, exclusion, and survivalism. The fundamental question before us is simple. Does this APP represent a genuine plan to transform the economy of this province and place the means of production in the hands of our people? Or is it just another administrative exercise filled with targets and indicators that will not fundamentally change the lives of our communities? The EFF submits that while the APP continues ambitious language, it falls short of addressing the structural economic crisis facing our province. Honorable Speaker, The Northwest Province remain one of the provinces with the highest level of unemployment, poverty, inequality, and particularly amongst young people. Thousands of graduates roam the streets of Mafikeng, Rustenburg, Poch, Klerksdorp, Mogoase, Madibog, Taung, and many other communities without any hope of employment opportunities. Yet, year after year, this department presents plans, strategies, while the material conditions of our people remain unchanged. Every year, a budget is allocated for hotels in this province owned by the department, but nothing changes. We note that this year, the department has an allocation of more than 1 billion for the 2026-2027 financial year. However, what concerns us is not the amount allocated, but the value that ordinary people will benefit from this budget. It cannot be accepted that administration continues to consume the largest portion of the budget, while communities, particularly Black communities, continue to demand tangible economic opportunities. One, this department, whose core responsibility is economic development, cannot become a department of meetings, reports, workshops, and presentations while unemployment continues to rise. Honorable Speaker, we are particularly concerned about the disconnect between a budget allocation and actual economic impact. The APP speaks intensively about strategies, plans, research studies, and regulatory compliance. While these are important, our people cannot eat strategies. They cannot survive on policy documents. They need jobs, ownership, and meaningful participation in the economy. The first issue is that the department wants us to believe that this APP will drive sustainable economic growth and development. Yet the province continues to face an economic structure that is anti-Black, anti-poor, anti-youth. This so-called support for the SMMEs and cooperatives remains too small, too fragmented, and too disconnected from the actual conditions that are facing our people. In many villages and townships, small businesses are not failing because our people do not want to work. They fail because government support is low, procurement remains inaccessible, equipment support is limited, and market access is still monopolized by established players. If this APP speaks of economic transformation, then economic transformation must be visible in the ownership pattern of the economy, in who receives support, in who wins procurement opportunities, in who gets industrial equipment, and who gets absorbed in the value chains. Honorable Speaker, the deeper political problem in this APP is that it still reflects a government that is still managing underdevelopment instead of defeating it. It is an APP of moderation in a province that needs bold intervention. It is an APP of scattered targets in a province that needs economic restructuring. It is an APP that still assumes that small incremental outlooks will somehow resolve a crisis of mass unemployment, Black businesses exclusion, and collapsing economy. We believe that this province needs a militant developmental agenda, district-based industrial support, township and village procurement, set aside aggressive support for youth and women ownership enterprises, local beneficiation, township localization, environmental jobs, and gambling regulators that protects communities with real enforcement capacity. The EFF calls on this House to demand strict accountability from DDEC, especially on the implementation of SMME support, the use of increased allocations, the real economic impact of tourism interventions, and the regulatory effectiveness of the Northwest Gambling Board. We need timelines, strict district-level beneficiation report, consequence management for underperformance, and measurable proof that public spending is changing lives where it matters most, in villages, township, informal settlement, and small towns. Until that happens, go and learn from the MEC of Finance in Gauteng. The EFF remains unconvinced that this APP rises the level of the crisis confronting the people of this province. Our people do not need another year of paperwork, cautious target, and managed deadline. They need economic freedom in their lifetime. And that is why the EFF rejects, Honorable Kunong, this budget. Let us go and continue to register to vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Babwile. I will now call Honorable Steenkamp, your 8 minutes.
There we go. It is my greatest desire to be able to do that one day. Honourable Speaker, before preparing for this debate, I did something that I suspect the department would hope nobody would do, is I went back and checked. I went back and compared the department's 2025-2026 annual performance plan with the analysis of the APP before us today. I wanted to see whether the promises made last year had translated into delivery. And what I found, unfortunately, was not progress. It was repetition. The same projects, the same concerns, same implementation failures, same unanswered questions, and the same promises. Honourable Speaker, at times it felt like I was reading the same disappointment twice. That is the story of this budget. I spend my weekends knocking on doors and speaking to residents, and funny enough, MEC, I can tell this House that not one single person have told me, Joni, I wish government would give me another strategy. No, they want jobs, they want opportunities, and they want to know that their children will have a future in this province. Honourable Speaker, the people of Northwest were promised economic growth. Yet, when I went back and checked, I found programs specifically designed to stimulate economic growth, struggling to demonstrate meaningful outcomes. The people of Northwest were promised support for their businesses. Yet, when I went back and checked, I found projects and initiatives that were announced, budgeted for, celebrated, but never properly reported on. The people of Northwest were promised jobs. Every budget speech, APP, and strategic plan speaks about jobs. Yet, when I went back and checked, the people of the Northwest continue to wake up unemployed. People cannot eat the strategies you speak of. They cannot feed their families on PowerPoints or on other presentations or on strategies in boardrooms. They need jobs. The people of Northwest were promised catalytic projects that would transform the economies in the Northwest. Yet, when I went back and checked, I found the same projects appearing year after year after year in these departmental plans. The MEC mentioned a couple of them again. Manyane Game Lodge, Taung Skull Heritage Site, Taung Hotel School, Mahikeng Hotel School, and the golden child in the department, the Golden Leopard Resorts. At what point does a project stop being a project and start becoming a monument for government delay? because these projects keep appearing in the plans, but they rarely seem to appear in reality. Year after year after year, budgets are allocated, but the public is still waiting. These projects were meant to create jobs, attract tourists, and support our local businesses. But instead, many of them have become symbols of delay. Delivery has still not caught up with the promises made. Honourable Speaker, the people of North West were promised an economic development agency that will drive growth, attract investment, and create opportunities. Yet, when I went back and checked, I found an entity battling declining rental income, deteriorating assets, poor maintenance, security failures, and mounting challenges. How can government convince investors to trust North West when government cannot properly manage its own property portfolio? The people of North West deserve a development corporation that, wait for it, develops. Not one that merely survives. Once again, delivery has not caught up with the promises. Honourable Speaker, perhaps nowhere is the gap between promise and delivery more obvious than at the North West Parks and Tourism Board. The people of North West were promised a tourism sector that would create jobs and grow our local economies. Yet, when I went back and checked, I found an entity that achieved 64% of its target, but it spent 100% of its budget. More than a third of the promises or the promised performance never materialized, but the budget was spent. The money's gone. But Speaker, residents were simultaneously asked to pay more at Boskop, more at Borakalalo, more at Madikwe, more for accommodation, for camping, for day visits, more. And some increases actually reached astonishing heights of 1,580%. I'm not saying 15%, I'm not saying 50%, I'm not even saying 100%, I'm saying 1,580%. So an ordinary family in North West looking for an affordable weekend away suddenly find themselves paying dramatically more to access facilities that belong to them, the people of this province. The public was told the increases were necessary. Yet, when I went back and checked, I found an entity plagued by instability, by government failures. An entity that somewhere along the line discovered a 6.3 million rand bank account that they apparently did not know existed. A convicted CFO. Imagine explaining that to a resident struggling to pay their bills, or a tourist paying increased entrance fees and getting even less than they got a year ago. You simply cannot make these things up. The public was asked to pay more while receiving less, and once again, delivery did not catch up with this province. Honourable Speaker, let me be clear. The DA believes in economic growth. We believe in investment, tourism, conservation, and supporting entrepreneurs and our small businesses. We believe that North West has enormous potential. But potential means nothing without implementation.
As you wrap up,
and a plan means nothing if it never leaves the boardroom. A budget means nothing if it doesn't improve the lives of the people that it is supposed to. But what disappoints me most were not the targets that were missed. It is that failures appear to have become a norm in this department. Underperformance is routine. Every year, this House is presented with budgets and really nice stories until accountability becomes real, performance will remain optional. Honourable Speaker, as I conclude, the people of North West are asking this government to keep its word, for jobs to be created and projects to be completed. They're asking for properly governed institutions and accountability when things go wrong. The people of this province deserves better. After I went back and checked, the one question that remains is how many plans must still be written
Your time is
before the people of Northwest finally receive what they were promised. Unfortunately, the DA cannot support this budget.
Thank you very much. I will now call Honorable Sibigwe, 7 minutes.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, members of the Executive, Legislature, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. You know, Honorable Speaker, every time you come here, you get surprised. You thought it will be a continuation of what would have been deliberated at the level of portfolio committees. But because we are in a public platform, our colleagues keeps on shocking us. Let alone, let's also remind, Honorable Speaker, this August House that the former Secretary General of the ANC, the anti-apartheid activist, the trade union leader, current president of the ANC, His Excellency President Matamela, once correct in his assertion on the economic reconstruction and recovery plan, when he said all of us South Africans should work together to build a new economy, to create jobs primarily through aggressive infrastructure investment and mass employment programs. This era of socio-radical economic transformation demands that we must all consciously wrestle the economic ownership and control from the monopolies and cartels. We should pursue for the Black Industrialists program to take center stage in order to bring more Black people and Africans in particular into the ownership and control of the economy. In this era, Honorable Speaker, of accelerating service delivery and deepening transformation, we should never ever shy away from standing on the side of historically disadvantaged and to continue to use the state power to benefit them, as per the dictates of the National Democratic Revolution and the People's Freedom Charter. The ANC welcomes the 1 billion allocated to the Department of Economic Development, which must translate into a reindustrialized economy that continues to focus on growing small business, accelerate economic reform to unlock investment and growth in our province. We therefore support the allocation that should be used to mitigate the impact of rising petrol costs, including the rising unemployment rate, which reached 32.7% in early 2026. Involving targeted government reforms and business resilience strategies. We should, however, Honorable Speaker, should expedite private participation and partnership to unlock the economic potential of the Northwest. This will stimulate enterprise development for SMEs to grow and generate jobs. As part of fixing local government and transforming our economy, the department should partner with municipalities, and we appreciate from the statement made by the MEC. We take note of what the MEC said in terms of supporting initiatives by the department, which are alluded in terms of the interventions to various municipalities as outlined in the budget speech. Whereas we commend the sterling achievement of the Gambling Board in overachieving some of its targets during the previous financial year by over-collecting its revenue, we call on the board to shut down all illegal gambling operations to protect vulnerable populations, especially minors, to prevent severe financial exploitation and cap the associated rise in criminal activity. Illegal gambling results in massive economic losses as unregulated platforms evade tax and undermine legitimate law-abiding businesses that destroy legitimate compliant businesses. The board should embark on an intensive campaign to educate society on the dangers of illegal gambling, including the importance of reporting thereof and responsible gambling. The free treatment and counseling program available should be made available to assist those who are addicted to gambling. The ANC maintains that small, micro, and medium-sized enterprise cooperatives, as well as township and villages economies, have a role to play as a means of fostering economic development, inclusive growth. Through the Northwest Development Corporation, we must see the full realization of this resolve and continue supporting the development of sustainable and competitive SMMEs. This will positively contribute to the province's economic growth and transformation. The department must continue to intensify community outreach program on spaza shops, support fund, which will provide funding opportunity to aspirant entrepreneurs to leverage from their transformative initiative aimed at supporting and empowering township business. The dilapidated buildings and structures owned by the entity leaves much to be desired and ought to be given the necessary attention. And the NWDC must use its budget allocation in improving their properties in areas such as Mohwase to ensure that there's manufacturing initiatives, and must also revisit all its outstanding programs. The entity must improve its property administration and development, whereas we notably recognize the efforts of the department to create job opportunities for young people. We still see a need for automotive skills development program to empower more young people in the province. The department must use this 1 billion allocation to stimulate economic growth in the province, which will create more sustainable jobs. We welcome the appointment of the new boards of these entities for them to fully unleash the ability of these entities to support youth-owned initiatives. Honorable Speaker, just to respond to 2 issues that were raised by honorable members, in particular, Honorable Babuile. Honorable Babuile, as I was listening, it was very regrettable that there was no tangible research issues that you raised, especially in terms of the deliberations within the portfolio committees. Issues raised were not related to the budget speech. Let me just help you here to clarify what we are misleading to the public. You are very same MEC of Finance. As you would have listened to MECs here, they interact on a regular basis with the Premier through EXCO. And the resolve is an EXCO resolve. You can't have one person out of 11 people sitting in EXCO meetings suddenly come out and want to claim the Gauteng budget to be his own budget. And I can assure you now, we would want to get a copy of your MEC. You'll see how many times you have referred to the Premier of Gauteng. That is the ANC-led budget. It is not an EFF budget. The EFF MEC is
Honorable
Can I be protected, Honorable Speaker?
Honorable Sebekwe, you haven't been listening to me. You listen to the noise outside me, and I'm the only person you can listen to. I've been calling you. Just hold on, Honorable Mwema.
No, thank you ever so much, Honorable Speaker. I wish to pose a question to Honorable Sebekwe.
Honorable Sebekwe. Yeah. Are you Honorable Sebekwe? Honorable members, are you Honorable Sebekwe? I didn't know you called the house is Sebekwe. Honorable Sebekwe, do you want to take a question? Honorable Sebekwe, are you ready to take a question?
Not at this point in time, in interest of time.
Thank you. He's not ready for a question. Continue. Can you continue?
No, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I was just clarifying this issue of the MEC of Gauteng. He is a hung liar. He actually carries the instructions as would have been resolved by the ANC-led government in that part of the province. Let us not mislead our public. Second to that, Honorable Steenkamp, you see there's a difference between politics and economics. However, politics and economics, if you define them, the definitions at the same time are the same. I hope you are aware.
Your time is up.
What you tend to do, you tend to confuse economics. You tend to confuse. I just wanted to clarify one point. However, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, make sure you don't drown a speaker on the podium. And those are your rules. They are not my rules. They are your rules. If you can just comply with them. Maybe, Secretary, we should also plug the rules on our device so that they always go to the rules and remind themselves. But thank you very much, Honorable Sebekwe. I will now call Honorable Tsulo, your 3 minutes.
Magosi a rona re le lemogile motlotlegi mmusa kgotla mokhuduthamaga wa lefapha le o leleme le borete ke thelletswane thella bodiba o ka iphitlhela o tshwere marumo o re wa motlhaba kaka wa tloge wa lesa jaanong ke ne ke re ke mo gopotse honorable speaker that her executive summary of the strategic plan 2025-2030 document on page 2 and 3 mentions few things which I would like to refer her to. In as far as the assertion that he asserted in that particular document, with regard to the economic transformation, where he said it's about broadening opportunities for all South Africans, but for the particularly disadvantaged. It is about raising employment, reducing poverty and inequality, and raising standards living and education. It includes broadening ownership and control of capital accumulation. And more than half of the population of the people of Northwest, majority, they are youth. In this regard, they are failing. On page 3 of the very same strategic document, the province's capacity on agricultural production and agro-processing should be investigated. It is her, not Umkhonto we Sizwe Party, saying that. And therefore, we are submitting that there is little that the department is doing to ensure that the Northwest province is capacitated on agricultural production and agro-processing as per their strategic plan. With regard to Matlakala ke Zaka, ke sone se ke reng o leleme le borete, we will support you as Umkhonto we Sizwe Party only if the people of Northwest youth in particular will benefit, not families of MECs, MPLs, and politicians, ordinary people in this particular regard. With regard to your page 24, Shopo ya Batho as an anchor retail and enterprise development hub where 25 businesses across 25 wards in Moretele will be supported. We agree with you because re batla go bantsha ka kasi, ha re bantsha ka kasi bana ba rona ba ungwelwe mo go seo se buang se ra go support, and I will make sure that during the parliamentary constituency work will conduct oversight gore re bone gore patlelo e o tshamekela mo go yone ga o re ra jana a go a diragala go na le ditiragalo. Se sengwe se se botlhokwa ke gore as Umkhonto we Sizwe Party we say we have a God-given province rich in minerals, agricultural land and tourism. While acknowledging the efforts that you have just alluded to, there is a need for this particular province to come up with consolidated plans and industrial policy that will strengthen manufacturing, agro-processing, and guide how maximally can we utilize the resources in mining, agriculture, and tourism to create jobs. Honorable Speaker, I would like to implore upon the MEC responsible for the department to say that the National Department of Trade and Industry is managing the Black Industrialist Scheme and funds that are intended to assist Africans that want to enter big industry to accelerate the
As your
increase and
time
participation of Black industrialists in the national economy. The key focus areas, Honorable Speaker, of the
time is
program.
Your time is up.
It's up. Ke ngwana o utlwang a kere.
Honorable Oliphant, you have 9 minutes.
No, thank you, and good morning, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, members of the Executive Council, members of the Provincial Legislature, the traditional leadership, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I think Honorable Tolo didn't realize that all she needed to say is I support and leave. She did not have to stand here for too long. Madam Speaker, I think it's important that we just educate Honorable Steenkamp a little bit. You know, the book of Proverbs 29:18 says, where there's no vision, the people perish. They perish because there would not be any strategy. So there'll always be strategy. And even in organizations, they would set out their vision quite clearly for all of us to see. And after that, they would strategize, identifying how exactly they would achieve that vision. And I thought I must indicate that so that all of us move from the same premise. Honorable Speaker, I concur with the Honorable President Ramaphosa that economic growth is not an end in itself. Its purpose is to create work, restore hope, and expand opportunity. Every investment secured, every infrastructure project completed, and every reform implemented must ultimately improve the lives of our ordinary South Africans. Madam Speaker, this budget should remove unique challenges such as poverty, inequality, and unemployment that are confronting our rural communities, which hinder their economic development, resulting in limited access to education, healthcare, and inadequate infrastructure. The 1 billion allocated to the department should be used to innovate, collaborate, and create sustainable solutions. It must be used to equip our youth with skills they need to thrive in a modern economy. They will not only empower individuals, but it will also strengthen the local workforce, attract investment, and foster entrepreneurship. Honorable Nkopane has spoken to this effect. The caring and compassionate ANC-led government will, with this budget, continue to create an ecosystem that nurtures small businesses and startups in rural areas. This will be achieved through access to mentorship programs and business incubators by empowering local entrepreneurs. We will stimulate job creation, diversify the economy, and retain talent within our communities. At the level of wards within local municipalities for real impact. Business incubation remains crucial and is at the center for small businesses, especially startups, as it provides essential support and resources during their early and vulnerable stage. We therefore welcome the department's intention to incubate and provide 40 targeted groups with business support initiatives for sustainable economic growth and development. We also welcome the commitment by the department to support 50 SMMEs with machinery, which will drive local economic growth by bridging the gap between manual labor and industrial efficiency. This support will aid small businesses to compete with larger firms and scale their operations while creating job opportunities for youth, women, and persons with disability. I must then pause, Honourable Speaker, to indicate to Honourable Steenkamp that projects end when their phases or project life cycles, the deliverables are formally accepted and their ownership transition. That's when projects end. You can't ask the question when projects end as if they go on without end. They do end. The DA, unfortunately, does not support economic development that is black. They support economic development opportunistically, scaled and focused on white people. That's a fact. Non-financial and financial support to 750 MSMEs presents a great growth opportunity for our economy and a major source of job creation. This support comes in such challenging times when many have lost their jobs post-COVID and the unemployed have found it even harder to earn a living wage due to economic stagnation. We welcome the department's acts of urgency to support small businesses. This number must impact each municipality and deal with urban and rural economic development. We further commend the department's support for MSMEs with business development support services, which include business registration, filling of annual returns and CIPC to avert deregistration of businesses, improving market access and skills development. The support further provides access to finance for entrepreneurs and the self-employed. It must also continue to contribute to the expansion of an enabling business environment that empowers small businesses and entrepreneurs to develop, grow, and create jobs. It is undeniable, Madam Speaker, even to doomsayers in this House, that access to capital, mentorship programs, and reducing bureaucratic red tape can unleash the potential of our creative minds, support youth, women-owned businesses and startups. This will lead to massive job creation and economic diversification. We should increase the participation of informal and micro and small enterprises in the formal economy, as well as enabling MSMEs to grow. A clear-cut enterprise development strategy. Youth, women, and people with disabilities should be direct beneficiaries of more than 500 job opportunities earmarked with this budget. We call on the department to incorporate public employment and development programs such as SANSI and YES to develop, capacitate, empower, and tackle unemployment while providing skills to innovate entrepreneurs and long-term sustainable employment to targeted groups. Young people should be the focus of this program. The African National Congress acknowledges the department's efforts to turn around the undesirable situation at the Northwest Parks and Tourism Board, to resolve long-standing challenges that have been seen in its weakening, especially regarding employee salary payments, poaching control systems, and to further ensure that the surrounding communities benefit meaningfully from tourism activities. In addition to this, the Portfolio of Finance and Premier have resolved to further intensify the support through the Provincial Treasury. With this budget, we need to transform our basic points of interest into accessible, secure, and highly sought-after economic hubs. In doing so, the department should urgently finalize all infrastructure backlogs in the tourism sector, especially Manyane, Taung Skal, Taung Hotel, Maikeng Hotel, and the GLR resorts. This infrastructure has the potential to directly generate diverse employment opportunities for youth, women, people with disabilities, and business opportunities for SMMEs across the province. A strong tourism infrastructure is essential for economic growth. Investing in this infrastructure will indeed create the necessary jobs. We need to open our markets to international trade and attract foreign direct investment, which can significantly boost our economy through the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement by negotiating trade agreements and creating a favorable business climate. Indeed, Matlakala Kezaka, the ANC commends the department for collaboration with municipalities to investing in Go Green campaigns and sustainable practices, which not only protect our environment, but also create new industries and job opportunities. This would also assist in keeping our cities clean. Madam Speaker, this program offers transformative opportunities for our communities, businesses, and the environment. It drives eco-education, boosts local economic development through green jobs for our economies, unlocking the economic value or recycling materials. The ANC commends the work done by the Consumer Affairs Office, which has over the years proficiently proved its dedication to protect the rights of consumers and enforce the Consumer Protection Act. Madam Speaker, we applaud the Northwest Consumer Court for successfully securing settlement agreements in favor of a consumer who was sold a motor vehicle with mechanical defects, resulting in the cancellation of an installment sale agreement and a refund of more than 273,000 rand.
As you wrap up.
In respect of the Gambling Board, Madam Speaker, we must focus on technological advancement, bookmaker audits, and a comprehensive fight against illegal
Question,
gambling.
Speaker.
Madam Speaker, as a
What's your issue?
Hold on, Honorable Oliphant. Honorable Moema.
Yes, let me check if Honorable Oliphant is prepared to take a question.
Madam
Honorable
Speaker,
Oliphant.
Madam Speaker, no, thank you.
Honorable Oliphant, are you ready to take a question?
No, Madam Speaker, I don't have
He's
time.
not
I'm
ready
always
for a
ready.
question.
I don't have time.
Continue.
Madam Speaker, Honorable Babwile talks about structural economic challenges. He talks about every year there is hotels on hotels. He talks about every person that does not benefit. What he does not talk about is the fact that there has been progress made. What he also does not talk about is the fact that he has not come with any solution. We've sat here year after year, month after month, and no member of the opposition has come with any tangible solution. Honorable Linkopane, in the words of Honorable Smuts Mathe, Emma Otsamai ka speedy tota. You must go and implement what we expect you to implement on behalf of the ANC for the advancement of our people. The African National Congress supports unreservedly this budget. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Oliphant. Honorable MEC, your 10 minutes. Order, order, order.
Please.
You have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Yo batho ba modimo gompieno yana ke ne ke tlile ka buka e nang le di-page di le 33. Le gone go kokotswela ga godimo. It then says there's a lot that I have not actually attended to in this booklet. Yang gae batho ba modimo lo skola utlwa tse dingwe di shomi mahoko a mo. Tla ke tsene ka gangwe fela to respond to Khosi, the chairperson of the portfolio committee. I'll continue to appreciate your leadership. O buile dio tse di siameng, ke dumalana le wena, mahoko otlhe a mantle. Honorable Chair, you have addressed the issue of the special economic zone. It is the homework that myself, the Premier, and the Minister have agreed that it is only the Northwest that does not have a designated special economic zone. We will continue to update this House. We wouldn't deliberate because we have said to our people, this is a budget, e batlang go ba bontsha boammaruri batho ba modimo ke lebogile le bishop mo ke ngwana yo siameng. We will continue to update on progress on this project, but it is a project that is at the heart of the interest of this administration, and it goes with reform. We are at an advanced stage. It is not within our control to designate, and we cannot commit, but measures are in place. We are working closely as the Premier and the Minister on this matter. I'm also noting your leadership and guidance on concession agreements, but I must say we are very unique in the approach. The approach on concession agreements, we have already received and we have lost all the cases. We have been interdicted. The MEC came up with an approach of saying, I am mediating, we are sitting around the table. I must appreciate the hand that has been raised by Madiko Future Company and the Pilanesberg Wildlife Trust. When we were in court, they approached the MEC. We are around the table. They are saying we acknowledge the fact that we have not been doing well, but collectively as government and private sector, we can make a difference. So we'll soon be announcing progress on this. Mme batho ba modimo e ya ga Honorable Papiki ba buile. Pelo aka e botlhoko because you say I must listen to the MEC wa Treasury go Gauteng. Nne ke re ke tla go bolella gore MEC wa ka wa Treasury ke neetswe Mosenogi leadership fale. Una tla go bolella gore I have listened to her. Mmereko wa department e batho ba modimo ke go dirisa madi, go direla madi, le go dira gore government e be le madi, and re a dirile. I will tell you how. On the side ya gambling board, ke ntse ke bua fa Honorable Steenkamp, Kiri, because you said you have reflected. When we took over as the 7th administration, we found 7,000 licensed liquor outlets. Di refile in our coffers for revenue enhancement. Kana ke nna ke irang gore batho ba direlwe madi ko go mekenage ke bua le ene ya ka MEC wa economy in the province. Re chose the liquor licensing is in a boto. Today we are proud to announce gore on advocate Molapo o re fa di licenses 7,000. Go tloga go 2024-25 we were at 3 million, we are now at 14 million. Batho ba modimo ga ke iri madi. Speaker. From there re tloga Re tloga ko gambling board,
MEC.
utlwa gore e tsamayang.
MEC, can you just hold on, take your seat, Honorable Babuile?
MEC o ntumella go mmotsa potso ya gore Nathan ena na mo neile bokae.
Oh, MEC, are you ready to take a question? Members, you are out of order. You know you must request permission for a question, but what you do, and I realize it's a trend, you go ahead and ask a question while you are requesting. Don't do that. Honorable MEC, are you ready to take a question from Honorable Babuile?
Batho ba modimo ga iyo nako ngwaname ga iyo.
MEC is not ready for the question.
Honorable Speaker, nako ga iyo ke a leboga mma ka boikokobetso.
Continue, MEC.
Mme ke neetso tla ke go tse through Honorable Babeile, mme ke neetso mosenogi o tla go bolella gore ko gambling board re dirile 2.38 billion gross gambling revenue in the province, out of which re mo file 100 madi o tla ra tlhakanyang a hitile billionaire newa billionaire tle go busa tšhentšhe se kgale 164 million e re entse mo godimo ga mo ko di gate fees tsa rona dingwaga re ira zero ke ntse ke lo tlhalosetsa gore we have moved go tloga go di milione tse kae go ya go tse kae re ituelela ditirelo ka gore tšhelete e ya bilione e fella mo dituelong tsa babereki batho ba modimo re dira tota bona ke rile mo page 25 I will be visiting Khosi Mabalani and Khosi Zibi just to listen to them on start-up support and enterprise development interventions in their communities, because we will never go wrong if we intensify village economy. We will never deal with village economies if we are not working. The Premier has already committed in their opening of the house. I will be visiting Church of Christ Assembly ko leader listen John Faith Mission ko Moses Kotane, because they always have these big gatherings where they are informal tradings so that the informal trading they are well established, developed, trained and capacitated and supported by the startups. Bona gore ke tla be ke na le MEC o monyenyane wa Matutao, I will be moving across the province for informal traders around schools. Gore re ba support ebe re ba train ebe re ba fe di equipments, because food poisoning is rife ko dikolong. So we'll be moving around schools. The informal trader support ena ya 67 million skolo le skolo mogojanyana for batho gore go nne le botshelo. Batho ba modimo a lutlwa gore dio tse dintsintsi se ra go di dirang mona ena e boletseng ke Honorable Steenkamp. Honorable Steenkamp, this is what you are saying. Honorable Steenkamp, you said you have reflected, but in your reflection, you are failing to respond that the gate fees have drastically increased because you are against it. Let me tell you, we are now engaging even with Madikwe concessionaires. The MEC has intervened and we are about to get out of court to agree. Please don't go and fuel this thing out of where it is now. We have moved the concession fees. You have reflected on the 25-24, but you are failing to see the progress on concession collection that we have improved with 21.7 million collectively. But you are talking investment, but you are failing to recognize that those are the concession. We have already acknowledged that the infrastructure that has not been utilized, we have brought in the investment through commercialization. And that we are now coming up with a model that gives rise to the owners of the land where we are practicing conservation. They are shareholders in this investment. We have already signed for the deals of 1.8 out of the 2.2 billion that has been put before us. But the investment, we are talking about the liquor industry, and this one, I have already given a directive to the chairperson of the board because we have identified some areas when we are doing the blaze across the province that some of the license holders are non-South Africans. We would go out and check as to whether they are qualifying, they are eligible, and how the board has arrived to that. The board is on that, and I'm talking about the board that is led by advocates and senior councils. On this
Your
one.
time is up,
Lastly, mahokokwana audio tse tsotlhe di dintle nna ke itumetse ke dira madi ke direla batho madi mokgosi o rile ke dire selo seo, and I'm happy that he is agreeing with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. Thank you, honorable members. Thank you, honorable members. Does the House adopt the committee report?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Members, the committee report is now adopted. Honorable members, I will now read the roll call in terms of Rule 245, subsection 1 of the Northwest Provincial Legislature Standing Rule to determine the quorum of the House. Honorable Babuile.
Present.
Honorable Bukhatsu. Honorable Butswe. Honorable Dabamping. Honorable Danji. Honorable Dyer. Honorable Groenewald. Honorable Kuno.
Present, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Kodisang. Honorable Lehari.
President, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Lenkopani.
Mungwashone ke yona speaker.
Honorable Makakani.
Ke temusa khotla.
Honorable Maine.
Present Speaker.
Honorable Makukua. Honorable Mate. Honorable Matuani.
Bosele Musakhotle.
Honorable Modise.
Meoteng, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Mwema.
Kete Musa Khotla.
Honorable Mohono present. Honorable Mokhosi.
Present Speaker.
Honorable Mukua.
Present Speaker.
Honorable Mulapisi.
Kete Musa Khotla.
Honorable Morweng.
Doctor, I'm vehemently present.
Honorable Musenuchi.
Ke teng ngaka Musa Khotla.
Honorable Mutsumi.
Ke teng Musa Khotla.
Honorable Oliphant.
Present Speaker.
Honorable Khosho.
Present, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Sambata.
Dikona Somlo.
Honorable Sebekwe.
Biskek Barakbar.
Honorable Sonakile.
Leadership present.
Honorable Sonti. Honorable Steenkamp.
Present Speaker.
Honorable Steyo. Honorable Chapi.
Ke teng Musa Khotla.
Honorable Tsulo.
Ke mo ntlong motlotlegi Musa Khotla.
Honorable Van Heestien. Honorable Walwon.
Teenwoordig achtbare Speaker.
Honorable Williams. Honorable members, I have satisfied myself that majority of members are present in the House to adopt the budget program by program. Program 1, Administration, 225,002,000 rand. Does the House agree?
Yes.
Program 2, Integrated Economic Development Services, 67,698,000 rand. Does the House agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Program 3, Trade and Sector Development, 94,892,000 rand. Does the House agree?
Agreed.
Program 4, Business Regulation and Governance, 140,639,000 rand. Does the House agree?
Yes.
Program 5, Economic Planning, 17,031,000 rand. Does the House adopt this budget?
Yes.
Program 6, Environmental Services, 440,406,000 rand. Does the House adopt this budget?
Yes.
Program 7, Tourism, 70,335,000 rand. Does the House accept the budget?
Yes.
Thank you, honorable members. The budget for Department of Economic Development, Environment, Conservation and Tourism totaling to 1,056,003,000 rand is now adopted. MEC, you can go and help the people of the Northwest with this money.
Tsamaya ka speed. Mafokani tsamayang.
I will,
Tsamayang ka speed.
honorable members, I will now call on the MEC for Agriculture, Rural Development, Honorable Sampata, to present the budget speech. Honorable Sambata, you have 40 minutes. Our guest, Rukupa Letuakati Dimalo, we are still in session.
Honorable Speaker, Dr. Des Pomuhono, Deputy Speaker, Honorable Maine, Chief Whip, Honorable Khosho, Deputy Chief Whip, Honorable Mahakane, COC, Honorable Modise, Tuna Khulu, Rela Zarasumukhosi, honorable members and colleagues in the executive, distinguished members of the Portfolio Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development, revolutionary leaders of the ruling party, African National Congress and other political parties.
Sorry, Honorable MEC. Our guest, please, can you be silent? The House is in session.
Khosi Tari Mautwe Ntliabu Khosi mo Provincial Makhosi a ohle atenka jenu Deputy President Contralesa Khosi Pilane, executive mayors, speakers and councillors, youth, women and people with disability structures in the sector, organized agriculture, farmers, farm workers and farm dwellers, labor and sectoral unions, sectoral partners and agricultural stakeholders, assistant departments and all provincial departments present, esteemed guests and media present, Dumelang. Today, the day South Africa won Rugby World Cup, 24 June 1995, defeating New Zealand 15-12 at Ellis Park. Madiba was there. We hope the day will inspire Bafana tomorrow morning. As part of OR Tambo responsibilities of international mobilization against apartheid regime, this day, 24 June 1986, OR Tambo held a meeting mobilizing Britain with the British Minister of Foreign Affairs. It is a privilege to present the budget vote 13 of the Department of Agriculture, Rural Development for year 2026-2027. This budget is being presented at a time when agricultural sector is currently engaged in the battle against foot and mouth disease outbreak, and the country, including our province, is experiencing a high level of uncertainty as a result of Middle East conflict. and the unemployment rate and poverty in our province is persistent. Between Q4 of 2025 and Q1 of 2026, 8 provinces experienced a decline in the number of employed individuals as reported by Statistics South Africa. In our province, Northwest, the most significant employment losses were recorded at 80,000. Gauteng, Mpumalanga, Eastern Cape and Limpopo followed with 67,000 and 43,000 Eastern Cape and Limpopo, respectively. Northwest is the largest loser as could be observed. This should prompt us to have proper actions to follow to intervene on the issue of job losses and job creation in our province. Even though the Northwest province experienced most significant unemployment, the quarterly comparison of employment statistics indicates that the agricultural sector in the Northwest experienced a 10,000 job increase from 950,000 in Q4 2025 to 960,000 in Q1 of 2026. Compared to the 35.1 rate in Q4 of 2025, the official unemployment rate in Northwest increased by 0.2%, 0.35% in Q1 of 2026. Unfortunately, the unemployment rate in the Northwest province decreased by almost 5.1 when compared to the previous financial year. The 0.2% point increase, which is primarily sourced from the agricultural sector in the province, is positive development. However, additional efforts are required. Honorable Speaker, the agricultural sector continues to face the challenge of climate change. The department will maintain its effort in raising awareness of climate change in the province and will collaborate with critical stakeholders, including the National Department of Agriculture, Agricultural Research Council, Northwest University, and DDECT. The province has aligned itself with the ongoing upscaling biogas production within the integrated crop livestock system in rural areas, a commitment to climate change mitigation and adaptation. This work is currently being conducted by the Agricultural Research Council and the National Department of Agriculture. While enhancing food and water scarcity, this initiative seeks to enhance the resilience of rural households and smallholder farmers by providing them with access to clean, renewable energy. Honorable Speaker, the department has established a goal of creating 1,500 job opportunities, which most of them are permanent jobs, to be created across various programs starting in the first quarter of 2026-2027. Honorable Speaker, this department will generate a total of 1,927 expanded public works programs, employment opportunities for our communities that have significant if affected in 2026-2027. The 1,927 is in addition to 1,500. In accordance with the medium-term development strategic priority 2 of reducing poverty and tackling high cost of living, and the department adopted creating skills for the economy. The department is preparing to provide training to a total of 2,200 farmers. This will be funded through the budget by 8,327,000. The Agricultural Research Council will be the primary collaborator in most of training as per our pre-existing relations. Additionally, Honorable Speaker, we have allocated 10,649,000 for farmer training, mentoring in the 26-27 financial year. Moreover, we have provided 12,053,000 for training with stipends of 120 unemployed agricultural graduates on entrepreneurship. Cumulatively, the department will allocate 22.7 million to our capacity building pillar. Most of the training sessions will be conducted at Khura wildlife stock practical training will be conducted in the Klipkale Research Farm. Honorable Speaker, the total enrollments in the Agricultural College, 2 of them, Taung and Poch, it's 473 students, with 222 at Poch Agricultural College and 251 at Taung Agricultural College. On graduation, Honorable Speaker, 68 graduated with diploma in agriculture in mixed farming in Poch Agricultural College, February 2026, and 46 graduated with diploma in agriculture in irrigation at Taung Agricultural College this year. Honorable Speaker, it is impossible to discuss agriculture without considering the issue of land tenure and access to land. The Native Land Act, which was passed on June 19, 1913, perpetuated the historic legacies of colonialism, resulting in the material dispossession of vast tract land from native people. Subsequently, this resulted in significant hardships and sufferings for the majority of Black South Africans. The state owns approximately 17% of the registered land, which equates to 151 hectares, while 30% of the land, 37,000 hectares, is owned by individuals. Whites own 72% of agricultural land, while Africans, Coloureds, and Indians each own 4%, 15%, and 5% respectively. Thankfully, Honorable Speaker, the Regional Land Claims Commissioner Office in the Northwest is making substantial contributions to the improvement of the lives of ordinary people and reversal of this legacy. The Commissioner has spent an excess of 375 million in 2025-26, surpassing its allocated budget of 302 million. In terms of the Department of Annual Plan, IAPP, we have effectively completed finalization of 47 claims, settled 2 land claims, and implemented 10 phase projects. The program has benefited over 9,024 beneficiaries, including 1,801 households, 531 of which are headed by women. The department has transferred 15,599 hectares of land to the respective and deserving communities in the province. Honorable Speaker, the agricultural sector's development is contingent upon effective management of available land. Consequently, the land care grant allocation of 2026-27, which is 10,324,000. This amount will be utilized to finalize the multi-year land care projects at Siking, Sioding, Nyetse, and Riachile. The department aims to generate a minimum of 208 green jobs opportunities between Q2 and Q4 of this financial year. It is crucial to note that the results of this research are aiding in the creation of the National Department Greenhouse Emissions Reduction Plan, which guarantees that agriculture plays a significant role in reducing of emissions and preservation of environment. The Northwest Province is aligning itself with the activities due to its robust livestock sector. In the Northwest Province, numerous biogas facilities have been constructed and additional ones are currently under construction. The beneficiaries of these biogas plants are located in Mukasa, Lugabeng, Vordonke, Frede and Museu and Tlokweng, Maubane and Nyetse. A shared net structure and a biogas digester are provided to each beneficiary. in order to facilitate vegetable production. We do biogas. Ultimately, you end up being a producer of vegetables on the work we are doing. The living laboratories were established throughout the province by the Agricultural Research Council in collaboration with the Northwest Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. In these living laboratories, researchers, extension officers, farmers, and communities collaborate to test and develop practical agricultural solutions in authentic farming environments. Between 2022 and 2024, 15 living laboratories were effectively established, with 10 in Lukaleng and 5 in Masutle. With a focus of cabbage production, 10 additional living laboratories are currently being operationalized in Taung, Jagersfontein, Ramatlabama, Matile, Lumanyaneng, Mutswedi, Gopane, and Rustenburg, with activities projected to continue until 2027. Honorable Chair of Chairs, the department will continue its involvement in the provincial disaster management structure. With respect to agricultural disasters risk management, the department collaborates closely with the Northwest Umbrella Fire Protection Association to raise awareness about fires, establish resuscitation and training fire protection association members, a body that includes landowners, tribal authorities, and individual owners such as large-scale farmers. The department successfully implemented 102 disaster risks awareness campaigns during 2025-26 fiscal year, and approximately 100 awareness campaigns in disaster risk and are scheduled to be done in this year. The extension recovery services continue to be a fundamental component of our strategy, with a budget of 35.5 million, intended to enhance farmer support, strengthen professionalism, and improve advisory services. The 21 million of the 35.5 budget allocation is allocated to cost of employees. 21 agricultural assistant practitioners and 25 contract agricultural advisors are paid through that grant. During the 26-27 financial year, 200 producers will receive training in small empowerment and promotion, and extension practitioners will provide support to approximately 8 producers study groups. Furthermore, the department has procured 40 vehicles for 2025-26, and it has allocated 5 million to procure additional 30 vehicles for 26-27. The provision of functional tool is essential for the program. This will help the department to fulfill its obligation to visit farmers. Honorable Chair of Chairs, the Comprehensive Agricultural Support Grant has been allocated as follows. Infrastructure and production inputs, 153.1 million, which is 61%. And 13 million of that is going to go to infrastructure for agricultural colleges. Extension and recovery program, 35.5 million, 15%. Training and capacity building, 22.7, 10%. Program and project management, 15%. Marketing, 6.4. Information knowledge, 1.5. Honorable Speaker, this program is derived from the ANC manifesto priority number 1 that says, put South Africa at work, increase support for small enterprises. 8 producers are are to be receiving implementation support beginning Q2, and approximately 23 clients will receive assistance with agro-processing initiatives. The support will include moringa cultivation and cannabis. The future of agriculture in Northwest Province is not solely dependent on production. It is dependent on value addition through agro-processing. In our capacity as government, we acknowledge that agro-processing is indispensable for the enhancement of food security, the development of employment opportunities, the expansion of markets and profitability of agricultural enterprises. Honorable Speaker, in collaboration with Agricultural Research Council, the department will persist in providing assistance to emerging potato producers in order to help them gradually achieve 2 hectares of sustainable production. Northwest is one of the 16 potato production regions in South Africa, with approximately 3,000 hectares of land planted. Nevertheless, the hectares have been decreasing. That's why we are increasing capacity to add on the program. With the strategic objective enhancing the hectares of potato production in the province, increasing involvement of small-scale and black farmers in potato industry. Honorable Speaker, the department is establishing Khura as a provincial seed potato center to enhance local production capacity and ensure consistent support for the program throughout the province. 2,000 bee supers were distributed to beekeepers throughout the province in the previous financial year, thanks to Mine Workers Development Agency that did that. Additionally, beehive making apparatus were furnished. Collaborations with the Agricultural Research Council, MDA, and Sibanye Stillwaters will fortify in 2026. The National Beacon, which is the National Beekeeping Conference 2026, will be hosted by the department in partnership with South African Beekeeping Industry, SABIO, at the end of June 2026 this month. A minimum of 20 beekeepers from the province will be attending and exhibiting in the National Beekeeping Conference. Honorable Speaker, the Research Directorate will persist in providing livestock produces in the province with exceptional cattle breeding material during the 2026-2027. The department will distribute from its own development 71 breeding bulls to the following beneficiaries in collaboration with Northwest Department of Cooperative Governments and Traditional Affairs. 1 bull per traditional authority, excluding the traditional leaders who received the bulls with the president visit in Ratlo recently. The Premier and the House of the Traditional Leaders will decide on how and when to formally distribute these bulls, which are meant for livestock improvement. The total is 56 villages, which only excludes the ones that received from the president. The total of 4 bulls to yard members, 4 bulls to ward members, 4 bulls to military veterans, and 3 bulls to people with disabilities. All those will be distributed by the Premier and the House of Traditional Leaders at a time and date determined by them. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the provincial government, let me appreciate the working relationship with sectoral players and mining industry. Let me happily inform this House that Sibanye Stillwaters, through a concluded agreement with the Department of Agriculture, has procured 12 bulls for communal breeders' improvement in Marikana. The MEC has decided to add 2 from 12 to be 14, which means Marikana communal breeders will receive 14 bulls from both the provincial government and Sibanye. on the 9th of July, pending the availability of the Premier and the Minister of Mineral Resources. As per the response to challenges faced by communal farmers during the outbreak and vaccination for FMD, the Department of Land Reform and Rural Development has contributed 54,357,300 for interventions towards provisions of movable crawls, walk-in refrigerators, mobile cold rooms, handling facilities, boreholes, and crash pens to support livestock management in communal grazing lands and the development of community infrastructure. Honorable Speaker, 2026-27 year will see the department starting again, hosting the program of Youth Entrepreneur Awards, Women Entrepreneur Awards. This program's goal is foster sustainable socio-economic well-being promotion and active engagement of the program. Honorable Speaker, as part of the industry engagement, the department has engaged the National Chamber of Milling in order for the province to host the National Milling Academy. That Milling Chamber has advertised its development in South Africa. The National Milling Chamber has agreed, honorable members, to host the National Milling Academy to be hosted and developed in Northwest JB Max local municipality in Potch. This means South Africa's Milling Academy is going to be based in Northwest for milling development in the rest of the country. We're working with the National Milling Chamber in this regard. During 2026-2027 financial year, the Agri-Hub will procure goat breeding stock with an amount of 1 million, and this stock will be based in Mulelwane Farm for an Agri-Hub coordinated goat breeding. The primary focus that we are going to have, we will also have 50 emerging commercial producers supported in the financial year. With the relationship between Land Bank, ABSA, and other financial institutions, the department has executed collaborative agreements in this regard. On foot and mouth, Honorable Speaker, the external factors such as diseases, outbreak, and our mitigation strategies may affect the progress registered in the support provided and planned for support 2026. The entire province has been affected by foot and mouth disease outbreak. The province is currently experiencing an outbreak of 414 cases that are dispensed throughout the province as of July 18, 2026. The disease is currently proliferated as evident by the new lesion that animals are exhibiting. The province has received 1 million doses of vaccines. In the 1 million, the province has of June 18 vaccinated 879,163 animals, which constitute 86%. And by expectation in August, we must have vaccinated 1.1 million. And from September, we must start going back to start again to where we started as a booster vaccination. Honorable Speaker, the province is also having a working arrangement and agreement coordinated by the Turkish Coordination Agency, TICA, and National Emergency Farmers Association, NEFASA. This agreement is giving the province 2,000 coffee trees. Honorable Speaker, on the policy space which inform the shift on mega and strategic developments, we do not want to mourn the fact that our budget is not enough, but we want to move. Budget will find us on the way. Actively, the first thing we are going to do, Honorable Speaker, in this regard is that we are going to work on a program to operationalize the functioning of government silos in the Springbok Ban. We need to have an investor that must be appointed as a concessionaire. The only condition would be production, processing, and trade of raw materials. And this production house of the traditional leaders include production in all our communal areas. We do not want to be counted amongst provinces who have communal land which lies fallow and is not utilized. This program is meant to activate that. In this instance, we'll be having crop massification and mechanization day in Springbok Ban on 20 July 2026. The department will work with private investors to revive the previous plan to have milling within the Springbok Ban silos. This plan will activate agro-processing capacity within the silos. The first principle will be to close a gap on availability of animal feed and producing capacity for the province on maize milling for both internal market and export market, with primary focus on African continent trade on maize meal. On food security, Honorable Speaker, we will need to shift and have properly coordinated, impactful approach. The department will work with ARC in order to use the research and tests done by SRC with the results as the basis for implementation of food security projects. The department will appoint a food security implementing agent, which is meant to properly coordinate project development and implementation. Honorable members, food security will shift from dominantly procurement of gardening tools, implements, and be an introduction to commodity development and trading. This must ensure production and aggregation of sustainable food security projects. In this instance, agricultural philosopher Masomubo Fukuoka, when he said, the ultimate goal of farming is not the growing of crops, but the cultivation and empowerment of communities, close quote. The first project in this instance will be as follows. Khamatlaku Pela Village Fruit Farm. This will be coordinated with ARC, and it will include later aggregation of free-range chickens that are available in the village as we speak, with an amount of 1 million in this financial year. Kabe Khamayacha Village cooperative focusing on ARC-tested crops and found to be performing on any other practical commodity. These two will receive 1 million in this financial year. Tosca Village, Honorable MEC Detect, Tosca Village Cooperative activated on agricultural village cooperative, conceptualized for a minimum of 10 hectares on municipality land. These two will receive 1 million in this financial year. Tikhane Cooperative and establishment of ex-mineworkers agricultural development center with MDA. Engage Matlosana to avail a municipal land or land reform to find a farm. These two has 1 million. Khura Muritila Village converted to Village Vegetable Cooperative 2026 with 600,000 allocation, and this will be worked with Disabled People of South Africa as a lead organization. The department is working with Bright Ideas on cannabis hemp industry to establish a provincial cannabis hemp program. This collaboration will facilitate the integration of hemp with other companion plants. Approximately 800 learners will participate in the labor absorption program in this regard. This program will be based in Taung Agricultural College. The department is collaborating with with Rustenburg Local Municipality and Bujanala Municipality to facilitate availability of suitable land for the establishment of an abattoir and a feedlot in Rustenburg. This initiative is aimed at strengthening the red meat value chain, enhancing local processing capacity for red meat in the area. The Northwest Agricultural Show continues. This time, the department will work with the university through the Agri-Hub to jointly host the agricultural show. The Provincial Yard and Ward Awards will be held on the first day of the agricultural show. The process of converting Khura Center to a registered government entity is at an advanced stage for the development of a costed business plan with costed organizational structure for this government entity. This will be presented to EXCO before the end of the year. The National Department of Agriculture is busy developing a hatchery in Khura. Currently, Khura produces 30,000 eggs a week. As the department, we have introduced a new approach to the 30,000, that 20,000 be available for incubation of youth enterprises on egg production, and 10,000 be kept for donation to needy communities by Social Development and Department of Agriculture. As part of departmental response to FMD, to the livestock, especially cattle and red meat industry, we will issue a call of interest on entities who have capacity to help develop a detailed breeding plan, farmer development, job creation, and up until the whole beef value chain. Based on what the State President, President Ramaphosa, said when addressing the Red Meat Abattoir Association on 15th of June 2026, he said, I quote, "In a landmark achievement of our country, South Africa negotiated a veterinary health certificate in early 2026 that now allows the export of red meat and meat products derived from vaccinated livestock against foot and mouth disease. Because of this development and the coordinated approach by the Department of Agriculture on increased capacity for internal supply and export access for red meat, in the meantime, the department will, working with Land Bank and the Agri-Hub, will work out an emergency link to an accredited black farmers abattoir with export license to intervene on enhancing provincial capacity for an active grower farmers support and feedlot. And in this regard, we will take from the allocated 10 million for Land Bank projects and only take 3 million for that. This is in line with the ANC manifesto, priority number 6, that says, I quote, strengthening trade and investment. Through blended finance, the department and the finance institutions participating in implementing blended finance scheme will start a 3-year program, 2026-2029. This program must enroll 60 deserving and qualifying agricultural enterprises per annum under the blended finance scheme. In each year, 15 of the 60 enterprises must be grain farmers, and these 15 Grain SA will be managed through Grain SA PGP program. Grain SA proposed 5 per annum. We have increased as a province to 15 per annum in grain industry, because when we operate Springbok pan silos, we will need the same grain to be stored in the silos. So increased capacity on grain farmers is critical in our province. As we speak, that's what we are going to do. The department will introduce a combo for 1.5 million for 1,500 layers. Remember, the original plan was 5,000. We're arguing that with the budget we have, we're not going to afford 5,000 for many. we rather reduce the target of 5,000 to 1,500 in a budget originally meant for 5,001. We are going to fund 3 farmers as opposed to funding 1 farmer. That's where we are moving off today. The department working with land reform is engaged with Land Bank, is engaged on the possibility of introducing lucerne aggregation in Taung irrigation scheme. The project is on conceptualization and it's targeting a minimum of 60 farmers as beneficiaries. Once this project has started, the department together with Land Bank and the Agri-Hub must then work another conceptualization of aggregation on goats. Musa Khutla, I would like to take the opportunity to present the departmental budget allocation for 2026-2027 as follows. Administration, 373,486,000. Sustainable resource use and management, 35,723,000. Agricultural producer support and development, 424,130,000. Veterinary services, 182,812,000. Research and technological development, 77,178,000. Agricultural economic services, 39,182,000. Agricultural education and training, 83,575,000. Rural development, 77,669,000. The total is 1,293,755,000. Honorable Speaker and the House, I am aware and appreciative of you all. As I conclude, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the Honorable Premier Lazarus Mokhosi for the opportunity to serve under his wing, his steadfast leadership, his continued policy guidance, and his commitment to cooperative governance. To the Northwest Provincial Executive, the Portfolio Committee, House of Traditional and Khoisan Leadership, and my fellow members, I am deeply grateful for your constructive criticism, guidance, and forbearance in our endeavor to establish agriculture as a sustainable and viable sector in the province. To the ANC-led alliance, which is ANC, SACP, COSATU, SANCO, the peaceful, loving people of the province, and the House of Traditional Leadership, I'm grateful to the trust you've placed in me as a member. I am honored to be among the ANC deployees in the 7th Legislature. Additionally, I'm grateful to the ANC Chief Whip and the Study Group Chairperson with the Portfolio Committee and the Portfolio Committee Chairperson in this regard. Appreciation must go to the departmental staff, both the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development and Department of Land Reform and Rural Development. By working together, we can accomplish even more as we wish to influence and assist the agricultural landscape in our province. Our intention and relationship with farmer unions and association labor unions, particularly NEHAW and PSA within the department, COSATU office bearer, provincial office bearers, and affiliates knowledge the needs and the priorities. The pillar of my daily survival and comfort being my family, my wife, Umamfene, Ulisa Ujambas, Uzango Mvelweni. The difference between me and Susie is that Usuzi is married Emamfeneni. Mna, I married Emanfenin. I'm
Your
not
time
married
is up.
Emanfenin. I married Emanfenin. Honorable Speaker, as I take off, may I say happy belated birthday to Dr. Kekan, whose birthday was yesterday. And also say happy birthday
MEC, your time is up.
to Thabo Mngomeni, whose birthday is today. Thabo Mngomeni Rastaman.
MEC, your time is
Thank
up.
you very much, Madam Speaker.
Happy birthday.
I don't have a problem with all the good wishes. Happy belated HOD, Dr. Kekana. You will have to correct that mistake by doing it today. Thank you, MEC. Thank you very much, honorable members. I will now call Honorable Makhakhane, Acting Chairperson, your 7 minutes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, Dr. Mahona, Honorable Premier, Kagiso Mokhosi, Makhosi a rona tlotlegang, honorable members of the executive, my colleagues in the legislature, balemirui mo bokone bophirima ka kakaretso, baagi, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Speaker, I stand before you today to table the Portfolio Committee report on the annual performance plan and the budget allocation for 2026-2027 for the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development as the acting chairperson. Let me be completely candid, Honorable Speaker, about the environment in which our farmers are operating. We are living through volatile global economic conditions. Therefore, our agricultural sector, the very backbone of food security and rural employment, is caught in a severe squeeze. In the book Peasant Revolution by Umgav Mbeki, heeded us by saying, open quote, merely reducing the cultivators to a state of even greater improvement. They may use only a portion of their already small and inadequate arable allotments, while those who do not own such allotments at all are being pressed into the army or mine instead of farming, at close quote. In line with this heeding, the Portfolio Committee looked closely at the numbers. The department is projecting a modest 2% budget increase compared to the previous financial year. Meanwhile, on the ground, the reality is contrast. The cost of critical agricultural inputs, specifically fertilizers and diesel, has skyrocketed due to the Middle East conflict. In some instances, by up to 20% increase. Honorable Speaker, this brings us to the central question our committee deliberated upon. How does the department intend to achieve its targets when its budget is virtually unchanged, but its operational costs have actually increased tenfold? We are deeply concerned that a failure to properly assess the impact of these rising input costs will lead straight to underperformance of the department. We cannot allow for flat budgets to result in flatline delivery for our rural communities. This brings us directly to the Comprehensive Agricultural Support Program and other conditional grants. Historically, we have seen painful underspending and implementation of CASP. And when money intended for emerging farmers sits in a bank account due to bureaucratic red tape, our people suffer, and food security is actually in danger. Therefore, the committee sought strict clarity on the following. What specific interventions are being introduced now to improve grant expenditure for 2026-2027 financial year? How are we going to avoid the underspending more so in the expenditure of CASP? What concrete implementation measures are in place to guarantee that money budgeted actually translates into fields and seeds on the ground? Honorable Speaker, to fix this, we must also look at the procurement plan of the department. Delays in the procurement plans are the root causes of late spending. The committee inquired on the status of the current procurement plan and whether budget approvals delays are blocking progress. Furthermore, We must change how we measure success. For too long, government has been reporting has landed on superficial matrices. Take the agricultural hubs, for example. The committee strongly questioned us using mere reporting on agriculture as a performance indicator. A report is not an achievement. It does not satisfy audit requirements. It certainly does not demonstrate real lived impact. We need to measure jobs created, tons of produce moved, and economic outcomes achieved. We also need absolute clarity on sector priorities. Who the department is supporting this year? Is that the department prioritizing cotton production or focus shift towards the critical transformation and development of Black citrus farmers? Our emerging Black commercial farmers need predictable strategic support, not moving goals. Honorable Speaker, we cannot talk about rural development without addressing the devastating impact of foot and mouth disease. Farmers caught in the FMD red zones are facing financial ruin, unable to market their livestock for extended periods. This is an economic emergency for rural households and rural farmers. We require a robust response capacity, early disaster risk reduction strategies, and progressive quarterly reporting so we are never ever again caught off guard. In this regard, the committee recommends as follows, and we put forward clear time-bound recommendations, Honorable Speaker. Within 7 days, the department must submit a comprehensive report evaluating the adequacy of the 2026-27 budget against input cost increases, complete with clear mitigations plans to ensure targets remain achievable. Within 7 days, a detailed grant expenditure improvement plan with strict timelines and accountability measures to correct historical underspending, more so on CASP. Full implementation of procurement plans backed by quarterly progress reports to prevent delivery delays. And then we also request that the department must actually submit the performance, must change the performance indicator of agriculture just being a report, but then must be altered immediately to focus on tangible project progress and economic outcomes, not just that report. And then what we also request that within 7 days, measurable targets for strategic commodities and transformation initiatives, specifying exactly how we are backing our emerging and Black commercial farmers. And then on the FMD recovery plan, we request that the department must actually submit a complete strategy detailing.
As you wrap up, Chair.
Okay, farmer support, disease containment, vaccine availability. Honorable Speaker, in closing, I would like to extend my heartfelt thank you to the portfolio committee members. Thank you to the tireless commitment to robust oversight for truly applying your minds to the details of the APP and the budget. And would also like to thank the MEC of Agriculture Rural Development, the head of department, and all the senior management and all the foot soldiers on the ground. Therefore, the portfolio committee recommends that this House approve the budget of 1,297,438,000. I thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Khagani. I will now call Honorable Mwema, your 10 minutes.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, Dr. Mohono, Traditional Leadership Collective led by Kosi Maotwe, members of the executive led by the Premier, guests present in this August House, residents of the Northwest Province, good morning. You know, firstly, Honorable Speaker, let me express that from yesterday, I've been so petrified all the time you come here, MECs, they present their budget. And all of them, they thank their children, their husbands, their families and friends, and their comrades, Nonomaloy, and so on. And we're dealing with the budget. And the question is now, whose budget is this? It now sounds like it's a budget of their children themselves. Hence, they're saying they're expecting us to support the budget. That is not even sufficient to deal with real issues on the ground. But also, Honorable MEC, I think you and I, we agree, and maybe let's hope that now that you are part of the Conference of the Left, will then resolve some of these issues at that level, because you can't separate. You give a background, a very good background that you know there's a history and a legacy of colonialism and apartheid, and that legacy still affects us in terms of land sharing in the country. And as a communist yourself, like myself, will then ask the same question that we dealt with Honorable Mathe last time, to say where's the principle of from each according to his ability and to each according to his needs. While the percentages from your very own debate or your very own vote we presented, it says that 30% of the land in the country, which is over 30% of the land, which is over 37,000, is owned by individuals, private individuals, one. Two, you are saying whites are owning 72% of agricultural land. Three, it says Africans, coloreds, and Indians